Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Sefiras in the morning. 15 minutes to change your life. Just fixing the speakers. There we go. Okay, welcome back from Pesach break. It's been a while. Let's get straight into it. So we're going to learn a sikha about Sefiras HaOmer, about a chakira, about a discussion. And we're going to get into the depth of what does it mean Sefiras HaOmer, and of course, what we can learn for it in our day-to-day lives. So let's begin. This is a very interesting sikha and good question. Okay, this is included Sichas Chelek Aleph, Sichas Pashas Emer, nearly finished. Chelek Aleph, we have Emer, and we have one or two more parshas. Next week, I think the double parsha, and then we're finished. So yeah, and we're going to go through the next. Either we use Chelek Beis, Chelek Daled. Let's see. It starts from Ois Yud Zayin. Halacha hi legabe Sefiras HaOmer. Halacha in regards to Sefiras HaOmer. K'she'adam machzir chas v'shalom yom echad, when you lose one day, you miss one day. Misfira Allah lispers shah yamim lehebracha. So halacha is, Alter brings down Shulchan Aruch, you miss one day, totally miss it. So then the next day, you still say the Sefiras HaOmer, you say the day, but you don't say with a bracha. Now, what's the logic behind it? So as far as a davar, the reasoning behind it, the logic behind it, yesh has Sefiras she'arba'im teisha yamim hasfir mahavim kol chad mitzvah miyuchedes. So one opinion holds that every single day of the days of the Sefiras HaOmer is a specific day. Well, according to this, even though you miss one day, so therefore, but it doesn't have an effect for the rest of the days, because every day has a mitzvah. Every day is a separate mitzvah. So there's a mitzvah to count to day one, there's a mitzvah to count day two, and the mitzvah to count day three. Just because you missed day one doesn't mean you don't count day 2 or 3, meaning with the bracha. That's one opinion. A different opinion, another opinion. Sefiras, Shimei Hasfira Mahavim Kula Mitzvah Achas. That really, they're all one mitzvah. Shel Sefiras Abayim Teish Yamim, which is counting 49 days. That's the mitzvah. Tmimais, complete. Well, according to that opinion, so therefore, in that opinion, when you lose one day, nifka matmimus, you lose that completeness, that 49. If you don't count 49 days, you miss a day, so then you're not counting 49 days. And therefore, then kvar kol shars like I miss it. Therefore, you miss the mitzvah, because the mitzvah is to count 49 days. Well, halacha. So let's just see that again. The two opinions like this. So one opinion says every day has its mitzvah. Day 1 has a mitzvah to count day 1. Day 2 has a mitzvah to count day 2. Day 3 has a mitzvah to count day 3. And therefore, if chas v'shalom you miss day 4, that doesn't matter, because day 5 has a mitzvah to count day 5. That's one opinion. The other opinion is no. Essentially, Sefiras HaOmer is 49 days, and they're all connected. So if you miss one of those days, you don't have 49 days. So according to the first opinion, if you miss one day, what's the difference? According to the first opinion, if you miss one day, it doesn't matter. The next day you make a brachah and you count. According to the second opinion, which is all really 49 days, really part of one mitzvah. If you miss a day, so then you miss everything. So you can't say it anymore. You missed it. So what's the halacha? Halacha neik lisbers shahi yamim. So the halacha sort of takes from both of them that if you miss the 14, it's taking account of the second opinion that you have the full 49 days. If you miss out on the mitzvah part of it, and so you can't say a brachah anymore. But doesn't mean you shouldn't say the Sefiras HaOmer, and therefore you should still say it, just without the brachah. And it's sort of taking both of those sides. It's taking the side that on the first opinion that every day has its thing, it's mitzvah. So we don't say with a brachah anymore, but you still say the day. But also taking the other svara, the second opinion, that you do that you just don't count, you don't make a brachah anymore. Now we're going to ask a question on this. Meaning, what we're doing, we're taking both sides, and that's nice, but there's something that seems to be unclear here. It's ability movement. Seemingly, it's not understood. Im anu royim is called harbayim etesha yamim kemitzah achas. If we're going to say, according to that second opinion, that really the 49 days is all really one thing. If we're saying the Sefiras aim is really 49 full days, it's 49 days complete, according to the second opinion. So if that's the case, then why you make a brachah every day? Seemingly the brachah is once for all of it. Should really only make one brachah. Whether in the beginning or the end, but you'd make one brachah. Because if you're saying that 49 days is the mitzvah Sefiras HaOmer is counting 49 days, then it's not a mitzvah to count day 1, a mitzvah to count day 2, a mitzvah to count day 3. It's a mitzvah to count 49 days. Therefore, you make a brachah in the beginning, you count 49 days, and you did it. Or you wait till the end, you finish them all, you make a brachah that I finished counting Sefiras HaOmer. But why? But what we do is we count every day. And so it's confusing. And even more, because what do we say? That if you miss one day, then you're missing, according to that second opinion. So we do give shivas credence to the second opinion, but why do we do it this way? Move on. The feed dazu. Hare is Sefiras shoyim echad mashpia loyrak al hayamim habayim kiim gam al hayam hakodim. According to the second opinion, it's also very interesting that the effect that we have over missing counting or not counting, it affects not just what's coming next for the next days, but also for the previous days. Shekain heim mitzvah achas. Because it's one mitzvah, so mechshash shel shchichas Sefiras yom echad. So therefore, according to that second opinion, really what we should be doing is making a brachah at the end. If you make a brachah in the beginning, as we say, I'll make one brachah and then I count 49 days. What happens if you miss a day? So then it's a brachah levatala. So l'chayr, according to that second opinion, we should be making a brachah at the end. Because remember, we're saying, according to the second opinion, it's in real Sefiras is one big mitzvah, counting 49 days. And therefore, if you miss one day, you missed it. So therefore, you will make a bracha every day, because if you miss it, well, first of all, why do you make a bracha every day? Because it's really only a bracha for the whole thing of counting 49 days. It should be one bracha. And therefore, that one bracha, you'd make it at the end, just in case you miss a day. And we don't do that. If you make the bracha in the beginning, and you miss a day, chas v'shalom, then it'll be a bracha levatala. So it would make sense to make the bracha in the beginning. It makes sense to make the bracha in the end. So you could say, the truth of the matter is, really, it is 49 separate mitzvahs. Mitzvah yuchedes l'chal erev, a specific mitzvah for every evening. But a mitzvah here, what is the actual mitzvah? In this spur, ba'ever rishon is Sefiras rishona. So really, the answer is that it is every day is a separate mitzvah. But what's the mitzvah every day? And this is how we put them all together. What's the mitzvah every day? Is to count that day's mitzvah. Erev hasheni, hu Sefiras hashniya, bashlishi es hashlishis, b'chein Allah. Meaning every day has its mitzvah. So it's not like we're saying that really Sefiras HaOmer is about counting 49 days. We're saying it's actually a mitzvah, and every day has its specific tafkid, its specific mitzvah, its specific job. Today, my job is to count day 3. Tomorrow, my job is to count day 4, and the day after is to count day 5. So therefore, when you lack one day of the Sefira, dugma, for example, Adam shechasa Sefira ha'erev hasheni, You miss out on the second night. By accident, the person forgets the second night. It counts Sefiras HaOmer. Any yachol ma'achab mikein hayom shlosh yom. Today is 3 days, or that and arba yomim. And the next day you'd say today's 4 days. You can't say that. Why? Shekein loy titachen hasfira shlish arvis bli sheni. Because you missed out on the second, so you can't say today's the third day, the fourth day. Because it isn't, because you missed the second day. So the third day is really the second day according to your calculation, because we missed the day. So therefore, it affects what is coming up. Meaning, if let's say you count 30 days, we'll say 32 days, you count, and then the 33rd day you miss, the 32 days you counted properly according to the day. But then the count, you missed 33, so then 34, you counted today's 34 days. I didn't count that. Because we should count for ourselves. It's not that these things are happening without us, it's our counting. Every day has its own mitzvah, meaning every day has its specific day to be counted. And this is something very interesting to bring it down a little bit. Something very interesting we find that when, in the times, like in the early times in the Sefiras, the Rebbe and the Frierdiker Rebbe, we found the ability to travel around the world became a lot more accessible, even though back then it was not nowhere near accessible as it is today, but it's more accessible. And people have to understand, how do you do counting Sefiras HaOmer? And you're going, and then there's a time zone that was put in. So how does it all work? And especially now, if you go, this is something that is practical people deal with all the time. If you go from Australia after Pesach, between Pesach and Shavuos, from Australia or to Australia, from California, you cross the date line. So therefore, you'll miss, your days will be off. And so what happens in Australia? I don't know what's going on now, but Rabbanim were very against it, but people still do it. So therefore, if you fly from New York, let's say a brachah is in yeshiva or goes in seminary, and they go back to America for Pesach, and then when they come back to Australia, let's say they live in California, so they go back from California, they go straight directly from California, crossing the date line, they miss a day. You leave, let's say Wednesday, you'll get to Australia on Friday. So therefore, in Australia, they've counted in Australia the Sefiras HaOmer for you for Thursday, but you haven't. So you have to count 50 days for yourself. So therefore, when everyone is having Shavuos, that's Shavuos yet for you. You haven't finished the counting of the Sefiras. The Sefiras hasn't finished for you. Your Sefiras will be a day later. So while everyone is finished Shavuos, you'll be still keeping Shavuos. And so to the other hand, if you went from Australia to America, you sort of gain a day. If you leave from Australia, from Melbourne or Sydney, let's say 10 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday, you'll arrive at 15 hours later at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday. So you've counted, you had 24 hours, you had like close to 24 hours, you had a full day that you counted, came nights, you counted Sefiras, but so you're ahead of everyone. So if you go from America to Australia through the date line, you're behind. If you go from Australia over there, you're ahead. But the point is, what we're seeing here is that every day has its mitzvah. You count every day. So if you miss a day, you can't count. And that's why if you go to shul and everyone's going to be counting day 33, you'll be counting either day 32 or day 34. Because you count for yourself, your 50 days, your process. And this is what we're saying. This is the whole discussion that's going on. Just to go back inside, because we've got to finish. Basically, the discussion, we know that today, when we count Sefiras HaOmer, we count it like this. We count every day, and if we miss a day, we still count, but without the brachah. Now the question is, what's going on? There's two different opinions. One opinion says that every day is its own mitzvah by itself. And therefore, every day you have a mitzvah to count. But if you just took that opinion, then if you missed a day, you continue counting, because every day has its own day. And there's a different opinion that really the Sefiras HaOmer is about a tmimah, it's about 49 days of counting. And you complete the whole 49 days, that's what it is. If you miss one, there's no point in counting anymore. You missed, you finished. So what we do is practically we take from both opinions that we count every day we make a brachah, not like the second opinion, like the first opinion, but we got like the second opinion that if you miss, you can't continue making a brachah. But we got like the first opinion that you still say it, still say the date without the brachah. And that's what we said. And we discussed, well, what's going on over here? And really, according to the second opinion, you should be making a bracha either in the beginning, but really you should make a bracha in the end in case you miss it. So you make a bracha in the end, and when you finish, you complete 49 days. But we said, and the reason you do that is because, and ultimately what we do is we do say the bracha, is because we said the reason every day does have its specific mitzvah. Today, like day one has a mitzvah of counting day one. It's not the mitzvah of just counting, the mitzvah of counting day one. But day two is the mitzvah of counting day two. So therefore, that's what we do, that we do count every day. And whatever we make a mistake, that would just affect what's going ahead. Whereas when we did pass, it was all fine. Tomorrow, we're going to finish this up and we're going to start discussing what does it mean practically. Have a great day.